Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. To Honourable Minister, the DG, thank you for the invitation. To my fellow panelists, appreciate the opportunity. It's a privilege for me to be part of this discussion. So my discussion will be about the bio-entrepreneurship space together with the bioeconomy landscape. So I'm just going to summarize about 5 points with regards to those two topics. So I'll be looking at just the global innovation in a biotech space, looking at South African position, us as a company, Cape Bio, and also looking at our disruptive and high impact biotech tools that we are developing towards economic and social recovery. But lastly, I'll speak about the proposed or consolidated framework that I think how the sector could be organized in order to respond not only to this current pandemic, but to future challenges that we may face as a country. Because biotech is central to all the tools that are required to respond to this type of pandemics. So if you notice that prior to COVID-19, the developed countries had already they had their own tools and capabilities, and immediately I think we started running towards them to supply us of these tools. And this has changed a bit because of the pressure that they have in terms of supply and demand. And you look at North America, Europe, and Asia, those are sort of the hubs of these technologies that we import from. So, and again, some of the trends that have been happening is that there have been some extended responses to COVID-19, and a lot of these big organizations were racing to the front seat, basically streamlining their own way of dominating the market. And we're looking at big biological data that is being rolled out throughout the world now. I think South Africa is now becoming a hub of this expertise, especially cloud computing and AI. And it's great that we hear from the CSR, Prof. Ndima, that there's a lot of work that CSR is doing in that regard. So, around the world, they merge that with biotech to be able to develop tools that are very innovative in the diagnostic space. And there's a lot of, there's a rapid IP development and transfer and acquisition of this IP and commercialization thereof. So we have seen a lot of new technologies that are coming through, directly responding to COVID-19. But when you look at South Africa, and Africa, we are net importers of these tools. We rely on these imports. And the reason why we are in this position is because the translation of science to commercial prospect is quite poor, and we haven't been paying attention to that regard. And the scientific training at academic level does not encourage entrepreneurship or bio-entrepreneurship. Hence, the moment we have a crisis, the first response that we have is to run to these big continents that I've spoken about. And starting up a biotech entity is quite expensive in South African terms. As compared to America, access to funding in that regard is you have a lot of VCs that understand the sector quite well, and they understand the benefits of South Africa. We rely on R&D funds, and commercialization fund is very rare to find. And I've seen also that researchers and business and other stakeholders are far apart from each other. We are not so organized. And it's very difficult also for private businesses to extract IP from public funded institutions. And there's a little bit of unfair competition for multinationals because we are desperate. So we would buy at prices that are very ridiculous because we have no choice but to do so. And there are areas of opportunity in the local biotech industry, I believe so. Because I think we can be ignited by the local IP developers. We already have them, but we just need to insert that entrepreneurial mindset. And we do have highly qualified researchers that I believe they can deliver best-in-class technologies. And we're also looking at the National Bioeconomy Strategy, drafted by the Department of Science and Innovation, which is sort of guiding bioscience research and innovation investments. So if we can use that, I think we can really drive a scalable biotech sector. I also think that the intra-Africa biotech research, IP generation and trade can contribute to continental distribution of biotech technologies designed by African innovators. And this is, emanate also from the remarks that Minister Ndima alluded to with regards to the message from the president. I think we have enough skills in Africa to be able to respond to the challenges. And let me also say that in South Africa we do have companies, organizations, and some of them are sort of government-funded research organizations. And we also have other startups, but we are not organized. If we can organize ourselves and know our capabilities and consolidate those capabilities, we can be able to respond to this crisis in terms of PPEs, reagents for diagnostics, and even therapeutics. We just need to find a way to organize ourselves. But let me just speak a bit about what we've been doing as a company. So essentially, Cape Biotechnologies is a CSR spin-out. So what we try to do basically is to leverage on genomic diversity from our indigenous biodiversity hotspot, basically to develop biologics. So in this space, mostly enzymes that are used in DNA analysis. So our work is together with the CSR is basically to buy prospect for novel biologics for us to develop these tools. So we locally develop IP, and we have licensed this proprietary biomanufacturing process from CSR to be able to produce these enzymes in bulk. And we've been supplying these reagents in the US and in the local market. And before COVID-19 came, I think this was our business model, but we then used these tools to then develop your COVID-19 diagnostic kits, PCR kits, based on WHO and CDC protocols. So these kits are currently under regulatory review, and we think we will be able to launch them very soon. And we also, working with DSI, MRC, funded project with CSR where we are increasing testing capacity. And the project is ongoing at the CSR, and we should be able to make some announcements very soon.